Welcome to the Sentimental Twist,
where two generations share one love for meaningful spaces and gracious hospitality.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Melissa.
Let's gather around the table and talk home, hosting, and all things sentimental.
Welcome back.
Episode 9.
Yeah, episode 9. Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Melissa. You can find me at Home with a Twist. And on Instagram, homewithatwist.com is my website, and Home with a Twist on YouTube.
Yes. And I'm Brittany at Brittany Shepherd on the Instagram and the sentimentaldecorator.com, and YouTube is Brittany Shepherd TSD.
Well, welcome everybody. It's episode 9. We only have one more episode. This season blew through.
Time is just so fast.
It is. And I lately have been laying in bed at night thinking of all the things I need to do. Like, when am I going to get my tree decorated? Now, you're already way ahead of the game on that because you've got the house tour coming up.
The 7th.
This weekend. This weekend. Yeah. So, wow.
Yes, I'm there for the most part, just tidying up loose ends. Outside, it looks like it might rain, so I'm not going to stress too much if outside's not perfect. So out back.
Speaking of outside, you really have done a great job with landscaping the front.
Oh my gosh. It was the plants I wanted to use for the most part, but the local company that I use, Cardin & Co., they are amazing, and they did a wonderful job, and they did that all in 2 days. The demo, installed the irrigation, and the new plantings. So
you got irrigation put in too?
Yes, because if I don't have irrigation put in, it's not going to survive.
Yeah, if you're going to do it right, you really do need to have irrigation because that keeps your plants alive during the hot summer months.
Yes.
And I love the pine needles.
Yeah, well, we do that here everywhere. Everybody does it for the most part because they're so readily available, and it's just that fluffy look. It's so pretty.
Yeah, see, we don't do that much here in Texas. We're more like mulch, But I did have some leftover hay. I don't remember what that was for. And when I planted my new rose bushes, we kind of put those around the base of the rose bushes for when the frost comes to keep them nice and cozy. But I love the look of pine needles. It's just it's so like mountainous, southern mountains looking. Yeah.
Around here, that's all anybody really uses is pine straw. So, all right. Well, it's officially Christmas season. Thanksgiving is behind us, and we are now in full-time holiday mode in our homes and lives. And so we're going to start with our first segment today. That is sentimental decorating, seasonal home with soul. And we're going to talk about scent, story, and sound as elements of our decoration, because I think when we think back to Christmas, all of those things are really the nostalgia for us. The smells we remember, the stories of gathering around and the things that we do, and then of course decoration.
The power of scent. Yeah, and
music too.
Yeah.
Multi-sensory.
It's going to be interesting when people be sure if you're just listening to this episode, it was this season, but I think it was the top of the season maybe we talked about scent, the biology of scent. Yeah, so
and how nostalgic scent is. But at Christmas times, we decorate our homes, but it's more than that. We feel this sense of nostalgia in our homes. And those things like the sights, the scents, and the sounds are layered, and what makes it unforgettable for us. So we also want to talk about not necessarily just buying more decor, because when it comes to creating joyful, meaningful Christmases, it's really not about the new stuff and the trendy stuff. It's about the things that remind us of our Christmases growing up and remind us of the people and places that we love. And so let's just take the time to notice it more and to savor it and not necessarily feel the need to go out and buy all new Christmas decorations for our homes. Melissa, I have a question for you. We were talking about scents of Christmas. Is there a scent that always signals Christmas in your family?
For me personally, I remember growing up in my childhood home on Meadowbrook Drive. And every year, my mother and my parents were really good friends with the nursery man, the Mr. Hilscher. He owned the nursery. It was on East Lancaster, if anybody's from this area. And every year he would call my mother and say, Ernestine, I just got flock trees in. Are you ready for one? And she'd be like, yep, Jay, just give me a day to clear the corner of the living room and bring me your best one. And in come, they would deliver a flock
Mhm.
Christmas tree to the house. And the smell of that tree coming into the front door, and how giddy my mother was to have and I don't know what kind of tree it was. I don't know that she was, I don't know, maybe my sister would know this, if she was specific to the type of tree it had to be, like a Fraser or a spruce, or,
Mhm.
but it had to be flocked. No, that's for me. I mean, that's probably a common scent for most people, is the smell
Yeah.
of a tree.
Great. I know, I love that. I love to go to the Christmas tree lot or even Lowe's and just stand there for a minute
Yes.
and
But
smell it.
is your tree that you put up this year, is it always fresh, or is it a artificial?
Most of mine are artificial, but I do get the smaller ones. Lately, every year I've gotten a couple of the 3-foot live ones from local places or Lowe's, and have one in the kitchen and usually have one in the sunroom. And because I like to sit out there if I can, if the weather's nice. And so I have a little bit of the smell coming in the house. But the nostalgic smell for me that signals Christmas has started. And, I talked about it in an episode or two ago, is that Hickory Farms Christmas coffee, because it just takes me back to Christmases growing up, because we always switched over to that Christmas coffee right as we were getting the Christmas decor going, right as all the things started happening. And so now when I wake up in the morning, my coffee is on a timer and I can smell it from my bedroom, and it's just like, "Oh, Christmas is here," the coffee is made.
I
So
love it. So,
that's
I guess I didn't realize that Christmas coffee was something that Dawn
mhm,
drank.
yeah.
So
We
how
got it
long?
we always bought it, around Thanksgiving time, and then she would start it usually that week, we would start drinking it in our house. And so the week that I was home from school on Thanksgiving break, or either, holidays during high school and stuff, because I started drinking coffee fairly early in life, and that's just a memory. And, I'm old enough to remember, like, that fun time with her, because we were friends by then by the time I was in high school. It wasn't just a mother and daughter relationship. Um, and so that's a nostalgic scent. But there's so many things that you can think back to, like some examples. If you think about it, might be cinnamon rolls or perfume that your mom wore to the Christmas Eve service. My mom, she didn't really have a signature scent, but there are a few bottles of her perfume that I still have that, remind me of her. And then, I don't know, a Christmas tree smell. There might be another baked good that you can smell wafting through your home. The smell of citrus and clove, like pomanders. I just love, 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 love that. So if you have a nostalgic Christmas smell, send us an email or Instagram message and let us know what smell signals Christmas for you and your family.
Yeah, and y'all can find us at the Sentimental Twist Podcast on
Yes,
Instagram,
we
or you
thank
can send us an email at the Sentimental Twist Podcast at gmail.com.
Yes.
We love hearing from our listeners. We haven't heard from them lately.
No.
I know. I'm sad. I like to get
Email us,
mail.
y'all.
Yeah, email us.
Okay, well, next in the talking about sentimental decorating, we've talked about scent and all that good stuff. But what about story vignettes, Melissa? I know you wanted to talk about
Yeah, you're really
giving.
good at creating what we call pockets of sentiment, little pockets of sentiment, I mean, I think this is really good for people who maybe live in a smaller home, smaller space of an apartment, or maybe you just don't have the energy to decorate the whole house. Is you can find little niches in your home to put maybe a holiday village, or your childhood stocking could just be hanging on the mantle. You don't have to get all the stockings out. Ornaments collected during travel. I think that's a really fun one. I know you have some
Yes, a lot
ornaments
of
on
them.
your tree. You
Mhm.
called it a memory tree
Mhm.
or a story tree. Is it a story tree or
Memories tree.
okay?
Memories tree.
Um, One thing that I like to do is decorate. I have my grandmother's French provincial dresser that she had in her bedroom. I repainted, distressed it and repainted it white. It's in my entryway. And I love it because it has 9 drawers. So I can stick things in there when I'm tidying, like guests are coming and I need to get something out of the way. Yeah. Or, the whole right side has all of my pet supplies in it, like their
Mhm.
sweaters, their bow ties, leashes, collars, treats, grooming. And then the other drawers are just for things like extra cocktail books that maybe I don't, recipe books. Anyway, I like to use the top of that. If I'm going to do any decorating at all, it'll definitely be on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy space to flip.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that people see right away. So something new that I got this year that's storied
Mm-hmm.
is a manger. Growing up, and you might have one of these or saw one when you were growing up, the wooden mangers that have the hay on the top.
Mm-hmm.
We had one of those when I was growing up. It was even older than I am because I remember my mother said my brother used to rearrange all of the wise men
Mm-hmm.
at night, when she wasn't looking. But my friend Renee, who we had on as a guest
Mm-hmm.
in season 1, who's a
Yeah.
vintage dealer and specializes in 50s, 60s, 70s, and that's about it. She posted on her Instagram a manger scene that was exactly like what I had grown up. And so I got it, and I cannot wait to put it on that front dresser.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that
so
idea.
when my niece and my nephews come in, um, they can, you know, play with it or ask questions about it.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing for me, that it tells a story is I like to hang wreaths on my kitchen cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
They're faux boxwood wreaths. I got at Amazon there, and I have navy blue bows on them because I'm a big blue and white collector. But what I have hanging on them are wooden chinoiserie, blue and white hand painted ornaments that my friend Catherine painted.
Aw.
So every time I look at them, I think of our sweet, precious friendship that we've
Mm-hmm.
developed. And I don't know if I think I've shared this before, that Catherine and I met on Instagram.
Oh no.
Yeah, back in 2017. I
Cool.
commented on, she's an artist, so I
Mm-hmm.
commented on something that she had painted and wanted one. It was a chinoiserie pumpkin. It was purple and white, and I wanted it for my office at work because I worked at TCU and it was purple and
Mm-hmm.
white. And then we just started commenting on each other's stuff, and we've realized we had so much in common that now we're best friends.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
I
What
love
about
that.
you? What are your storied, treasured moments?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things, but the thing that I would probably pinpoint is my ceramic Christmas tree. It's vintage. If you're watching on
I
YouTube,
see it.
it's
Yeah.
behind me there. That was my mama's last Christmas gift to me. She died in November of 2017, so that was my Christmas 2016 gift from her. And she knew I really wanted one. So I can just imagine her scouring the antique malls out in Texas, and she called herself a TPR, a temporary permanent resident of Arlington, because she was having cancer treatments at Arlington Cancer Center. And so she had an apartment and lived
I
there
didn't
for
know
about 2
that. I
years.
mean,
Yeah.
Arlington is right next door to
I
Fort
know,
Worth.
I
Oh
know.
my,
And so I can just imagine her, finding that one and knowing it was just right because, one, it's perfect condition, great little red star, but can you see, like, the gold ornate base that it sits on? And she knew I would
oh my
love that
gosh,
so
no.
much.
That's very unusual.
And so I can just imagine her. And I went to Texas that Christmas, but I always went to, where she was at Christmas. But I couldn't bring it home because I flew and I was just too scared. And so another friend drove it back to me, and that was not till mid-January, but I kept it out because I didn't get to enjoy it during the Christmas season. So I kept it out for a while. But even like you're talking about, even if you only have one little spot to decorate, or maybe you don't feel like doing the whole thing, the year I moved into this house, I moved in December 15th. And I didn't have a kitchen. And so, of course, I didn't decorate for Christmas, but I got that little vintage ceramic tree out and put it in my little den by the TV and put all my Christmas presents that I wrapped underneath it. So it was my Christmas tree that year, my one little story spot, my one little Christmas decor that year. And so it is my favorite thing that I own, probably. Yeah, it's probably my favorite vintage piece that I have. And I know she probably was tickled when she found it. And so that just makes me smile when I think about it. But yeah.
I want to share a moment that, the first Christmases that our moms weren't with us,
Mhm.
those are so hard.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just share, if I may, it's okay to take an inventory of your life if it's the first Christmas and your loved one that's important to you is not there, especially someone who made your Christmas just really special.
Mhm.
And maybe it's not the death of someone, maybe it's the death of a relationship, um, whatever is causing you to look a death of a job, a death of a career, a death of a just not how you thought life should be.
Mhm.
I think you can reevaluate and just kind of inventory, what have I done before that brought me joy at Christmas? And what this year could I let go or could I ask for help?
Mhm.
And I remember the first year that I was going through a divorce, I had just moved home. I'd moved home in August. So that first Christmas, I just was not in the mood for putting up a tree. And I shared that with a couple of my girlfriends, and then the next thing I knew, someone was knocking at my door, and they had bought a small little tree, the kind you can get at, like, Trader Joe's, they're in a pot, because they weren't sure if I had a tree stand and all that, and they decorated the tree for me, and then they stayed, and we just talked, and there were no expectations.
Yeah.
Um, they knew I'm the kind of person that I don't mind surprises. You might not wanna do that to a friend who doesn't like surprises, but you could say, "Hey, I want you to know I'm stopping by and I'm bringing something special to you, and I wanted to make sure you were home." Help those around you who are dealing with their first Christmases without the story of what they thought life should be, and help support them through that. So, anyway, I just wanted to say that because I know that was probably really hard, your first Christmas without your mom, without, in first year in your house, all
Yeah.
that, all the things.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting dynamic in your own heart and mind to reconcile with because you wanna feel joyful and enjoy the season, but something is different. There's loss, there's change, there's transition, and it's okay to feel that way. Like, you don't have to feel holly jolly, just because it's the season. The first Christmas that my mom passed away, after my mom passed away in November, my nephew was born a few days after she died. And so we had that little piece of joy to cling to his first Christmas. And I'm so grateful. Like, I look back and, like, of course, I'm sad that my mom passed away, and I don't wish it would have happened at all, but the timing, like God's timing in that and all of that, I can see his goodness in it. And so that's the joy and the hope that I hold on to, knowing that, he was looking after us, and she knew too, like she was looking after us in a way as well.
Yeah.
Um, so
I wanna share one more personal story because it's kind
yeah.
of a part of that thread, and I don't know that you even know this, but Mr. Twist and I had a really challenging journey to have children. I had a couple of miscarriages right off the bat, and then, I had a stillborn baby, his name was John, and he was born on Thanksgiving Day,
Wow.
and, many people could say, "Why would would God put you in that situation of all the days to be thankful and grateful?" And I've never resented him for that because there is gratitude that comes from loss.
Mhm.
And that was Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. And so I get to remember him every Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
And thankfully, our prayers were answered and God gave us the miracle of Phoebe. So
Yeah.
we talk about him and we talk about him with her and that she'd have a brother and that he would be handsome and tall and accomplished. But quite honestly, if we'd had him, we wouldn't have had her because we might have been like, let's just stop with what we have.
Mhm.
So, it's like you said, there are pockets of God's goodness
Mhm.
even among the loss.
Oh yeah.
So, anywho, so I wanted to talk about a personal Christmas decor in your home that holds deep meaning and why it deserves a front row seat. So you shared
I
that it
did
was
my
the tree.
Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mine is probably 70 years old, 70, 75 years old. So that that wouldn't qualify it as an antique because that's 100, isn't it?
100 plus, I think, is antique.
Okay, so
I
that's
just
vintage.
saw an Instagram video about this.
Yes, I saw that too.
I think it was Dogwood
Dogwood
Interior. She's been
interiors.
doing those fun, like,
Yeah,
identifying videos. That's cool.
yeah. So this
I
is
think she do
definitely
100 is vintage,
I think 100 is antique.
and 100 and beyond is
Well, I don't
antique.
know, didn't she do like a 75 to 100?
Let's look. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. So while
You tell
you're
your story.
looking, mine is a faux ball of mistletoe. I know you've seen them with the white berries, and you have one? I
I'm
just saw you
looking at it
looking
right
at
now.
it. Yeah, and a little elf
The
that sits
gold
on the top.
with the what now?
An elf that sits on the top.
Mine doesn't have an elf. It's a red velvet ribbon, like, tie,
Yes.
and then it has a gold bell ball
Okay, mine
underneath.
doesn't have a bell, but it
Okay.
does have the not of it's like it's velvet and it's ribbon, but it's like ribbon that's sewn into like a tube
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then it has, I think, the original elf on the shelf on the top, a 75-year-old elf. And I have it hanging year round from the light that's by my front door.
Mhm.
Because every year when I was a kid, every year, that was the first thing I wanted my mom to get out of the cabinet.
So
For
cute.
whatever reason, I just really love him. And he would always hang in our foyer at our house I grew up in. And I'm not sure when, but when I was a grown up, she gifted me that elf and said, "Now you get to carry on the elf." And so one year I hung it in my entryway and I never took him down. He's there year, and no one has ever said, "Why do you have a Christmas elf mistletoe in your foyer?" Nobody's ever said, but I know he's
At
always
Easter time.
there. Yeah, I know he's there, and I
That's
think he's
cute.
brought me good luck.
Okay, so Dogwood Interior said 0 to 20 years is new, 20 to 40 years is retro, 40 to 100 is vintage, and 100 plus is antique.
Okay, so he's
So
definitely vintage. He's a
I'm vintage
senior.
now.
Yeah, yeah, you are. So so am I. I'm glad not to be an antique. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so we talked about scent and we've talked about decor and meaningful decor elements and using pockets of your home if you're not feeling all like doing the whole big shebang or having your one little storied section. Now let's talk about sound. What does your house sound like at Christmas time? And, you know, do you create a soundtrack for your Christmas season?
Oh, yeah. I mean, always house is the sound of Christmas music.
Hmm.
November 1st is when I start
Well, that's
listening to
right.
Christmas
Yeah.
music. I just love it. The other sounds are the sound of the mixer. Because I just started my gingerbread project. I'm gonna share that during our bless that we had to share it. But my mixer has just been on nonstop the last couple of days, and it
Hmm.
will be through the end of December with
Yeah.
baking cookies and cakes and all the things I love to do. So,
Hmm.
what about you?
Yeah, so this time I have a record player, and most of the records that I own are ones that I have thrifted and found in vintage shops, and I especially like to try to find Christmas ones. And so this is the time of year where I really play that a lot. My favorite are the Andy Williams Christmas album, and I like Bing Crosby's Christmas album as well. But I also have a playlist on my iTunes that I play on my Bluetooth speaker that is all of the Christmas albums that we listened to growing up. So everything from Amy Grant to Kenny and Dolly to the Carpenters to Carney and Wendy Wilson, Hey Santa, like all of these things because we had a sound system in our house, a speaker system that was in all the bedrooms and rooms. And on like weekends during December and during the Christmas break, Mama didn't want us to sleep too late. So she would wake us up by playing a different Christmas album over the speakers every morning. And so my playlist, I created it based on all those albums, like the Celine Dion one, which is one of like my all-time favorites. And so I just put all those albums in an iTunes playlist and I call it Remembering Christmas from Childhood. And I'll say, "Hey Siri, play my Remembering Christmas from Childhood album and or playlist," and it'll kick it off. And uh, that's kind of my soundtrack. That's what gets me in the mood to decorate and all the things. So I start that as soon as I start decorating. But yeah,
Sweet thing that your mom did. Instead of just busting your door open and saying, "Get up,
get out
Brittany," she woke you up to the smell of Christmas coffee
coffee. Uh huh.
and the soundtrack coming through this. You know what? I've always wanted one of those integrated speakers in my home.
It was so fun.
Ugh. And
If it wasn't that, she would be playing the piano. she'd wake us up to by playing the piano because she played the piano for our
I
church.
wish
And
that I had known your mom. She just sounds like such an amazing person.
she was.
What a blessing.
Yeah. So,
Gosh.
but yeah, it's funny. And my brother probably remembers that too because it'd be, hey, Santa, Santa. And
I
he'd
love
be
that.
like,
That's on, I have a playlist on Spotify. It's called Mrs. Twist Jolly Mix,
oh, yeah.
and that's on there. And last episode we talked about the Holly
Sirius
series.
XM.
Holly! And so I found some new songs that I think are from Hallmark movies, and so I added those. I always Google search new Christmas songs for 2025.
Well,
And
my bless
it
it.
came out last year, and I add those to my playlist, but it came out last year. Cher has a Christmas album.
Oh, okay.
It's called Hey DJ. Play this Christmas, and it's in Hey DJ. It's got the sound to it. So it's it's
Very
very
Cher.
Cher. It's very Cher. So
All right.
that's fun. I love that. Mine is old albums with favorites. You mentioned Andy Williams, Johnny Mathis is another one that I
Yes, Johnny
love. I
Mathis,
mean, those are
great
just so
demo.
quintessential. Yeah. I mean,
Mhm,
when our generations die out, it's going to be really sad because they're not going to know who those people are unless their parents,
mhm. Yes, they're old school
baking. Um, so, those are all the sounds
Mhm,
of Christmas.
yeah. Well, so we talked about sight with our decor and story with our decor, sound and scent. So y'all give us some feedback. Tell us how you have a multi-sensory Christmas that brings back nostalgia, that remind the smells that remind you of Christmas, the sounds that kick off the Christmas season for you, and of course, tell us about your storied decor items. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we're going to move to Blessed I Had to Share It.
That's it.
Do you want to
Yes.
go first?
Well, mine is basically a continuation of the sound conversation because my blessed is that every year I like to do the same thing. I try to find at least a couple of new Christmas albums to add to my, you know, repertoire, if you will.
Okay.
And there are a few that this year stood out to me. Trisha Yearwood has a new one. And, I'm a 90s country gal. If I'm going to
Yeah.
listen to country music, it's going to be 90s most likely. Pentatonics has a new Christmas album. They're the a cappella band, and they are kind of nostalgic for me with mom because she loved them, and her Christmas present from me one year is we went to see them together.
Oh,
So that
wow.
was really fun. But another new one that I've really loved that I would recommend is JJ Heller, and it's just called JJ Heller's Christmas, I think, but there's a pretty song on it called Born in Me, and it's very faith, centered and oriented. But she also has a version of the song from Home Alone, Somewhere in My Memory, and that always makes me cry. One, because Home Alone was one of my favorites growing up, and I just remember like going to the theater and my dad just belly laughing about Home Alone. But that song Somewhere in My Memory, if you actually listen to the lyrics, it just gets you at your heart about Christmases that once were, and so check JJ Heller's album out. That's my blessed. And of course there's a ton of other new ones this year, but hers was my one that I wanted to share specifically. So
I do have to say Home Alone and Elf are my two most favorite laugh out loud, but especially Home Alone.
I know.
That whole debacle of those thieves trying to get in the house, it's just, there's nothing like it.
Yep.
And we watch it every year and laugh like we've never seen it before.
I know. And my nephew, he's 8. He, there's some potty language in there, so we have to like talk about it, but he loves it and he kind of looks like Kevin. So
Really? Have you noticed that there's some commercials they're putting on these days with Kevin as an adult?
Mhm.
And I can't remember what they're trying to sell, so that really probably isn't a good indication of how, good the messaging is. He just is so cute, and he's
I
having a
know.
conversation about somebody he's shoveling his snow. So I can't remember what they're trying to sell.
Yeah. Oh no.
Have you seen those?
I've seen some, and I don't remember what they're selling either. I remember maybe last year there was one too.
Yeah, I just love him, and I love that it's hard being a child actor. I'm glad that he
Mhm.
was able to work through all those struggles of growing up,
Mhm.
and he seems like he's happy now.
Yeah.
Okay, so my blessed I had to share it.
Mhm.
I shared a reel recently is that I have in 2017, I was approached by my coworker at the time to build a gingerbread house,
Mhm.
and that they would put as part of one of the auction items.
Mhm.
I can't remember the name of the organization, but it was a philanthropic sorority, a sorority that was doing something for their philanthropy every year. So I, from scratch, not a box where it was already designed a vintage Airstream camper that was lit up, and it was in aqua and red, and it was adorable.
Uh-huh.
And so sadly, it did go for donation. I don't think the people who bought it probably appreciated it as much as I did, and it's probably went in the trash as soon as the Christmas season was over. Or maybe I could think optimistically and it didn't. Anywho, I did it at my bestie's house in Julie in Austin,
Mhm.
and we pretty much worked on it from Friday to Sunday, sun up to sundown.
Oh my
I
goodness.
think I left that house and left Julie and her family traumatized by that experience because I was very serious. It was not a joyful situation.
Mhm.
So she's needed some time to process that. So I found Judy's Gingerbread on
Right.
Instagram and
Uh-huh.
started following them. And I got intrigued and thought, enough time, 8 years has passed. Hopefully she's gotten counseling over that. And so I called her and I said, hey, I really want to do
And
this
the
again. Are
gingerbread.
y'all okay? And she's like, well, it's kind of like childbirth. You forget the pain. So I think that, yes, we would be happy to do that again. Her son has since grown up to become an architectural engineer.
Oh, handy.
So I bought the template. And the great thing about Judy's is that you can buy a ready-made construction and icing kit, and then you have to outsource the candy on your own.
Mm.
But you can buy a kit or you can download templates. They've,
Okay.
they have the house from the holiday.
Fun.
They have a brownstone community. They have all different, they have a log cabin, they have a chalet, they have all different kinds. And you can also get on Pinterest and find them on Etsy. So I downloaded the modern colonial
Oh,
and I'm modifying it to look like my childhood home.
cute.
So Garrett, my bestie Julie's son, who's the architect, his job is to redesign the porches
Okay.
because those porches in the template
Just right.
are not just right.
Mhm.
And Mr. Twist has been modifying the design of the front of the house because it's a little different. It has more windows.
Mhm.
So I'm embarking on that. I'm making gingerbread as we speak, and we will be traveling to Austin in the next few days. And so stay tuned to watch the reveal of the house on Meadowbrook Drive.
Okay. I
Yeah.
cannot wait to see it. Sounds very intense. Also, good that you have an architect because he can make sure it's structurally sound.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to mention is SugarWish. I've partnered with SugarWish. Are you familiar with SugarWish?
No.
Oh
Well,
my gosh, I discovered them
I've heard of it.
several years ago. So they started out with candy, and then as they have grown their business, now they've added other things like popcorn, brownies, cookies, and now they have gifts. Basically, what it is you decide how much you want to spend. They have different tiers, and if you want it to be in a certain category, like food or snacks or gifts. So let's say you pick the $25 version. The person gets a link from you, either text or email, and
Mhm.
says, hey, you've been gifted SugarWish. Go in and pick out what you want. So they get to build their own SugarWish box based on what you've spent, and they get the snacks they like, the candy they like, the popcorn they like, or the brownies, or the coffee. They have hot tea, and then they ship it, and it's beautifully packaged. And so I reached out to SugarWish and said, hey, I'm doing this gingerbread house. You want to do it with me? And they were like, yes. So they have a whole holiday section of candy. And I got my box the other day, and I can't wait to use it with the new gingerbread house I'm going to be making.
That is so neat. I
Yeah,
love that idea. That's a great gift idea too
yeah. I mean, you could do that
for
for
long
everybody
distance.
on your gift list for long
Mhm.
distance people because shipping's included, I believe. and they come in these really cute little round packages that have their branding on the top.
Mhm.
But then they're nestled down into a bigger box, and the box is aqua and red, and you open it. It makes a really nice presentation. But what
Okay,
I
good.
love about it is that you're not having to guess what you
Mm,
think they like. They actually get
they
to
can
pick their
pick.
own
Mhm. I
thing.
like that too.
Yeah.
I've got some good friends that long distance that have kids and stuff. That might be a good I usually send them a wreath, but I think
Oh,
I
yeah.
might
You could
do
maybe
that this
send
year.
yeah, since they've got kids, it's
Yeah.
sugarwish.com,
Okay.
and it's
Mm,
mom-owned, women-owned,
fun.
women-run. Yeah, it's a great little I think they started it maybe as a thing to send to kids in college,
Oh, neat. Yeah.
and now it's just kind of evolved. They also do corporate gifting where you can buy, like, huge boxes of candy and do, like, a charcuterie board with candy and stuff. So, anyway,
That's
that's
neat.
my blessed I had to share it.
Those are good.
Okay, so let's move on now to favorite sentimental Christmas foods and recipes and why this recipe matters to your Christmas story. So, we want to go beyond the flavor and talk about the emotional anchor that sometimes food has in our lives when it comes to holidays.
Mhm.
So, Brittany, what foods do you remember that someone always brought to a Christmas party when you were growing up?
So, this one is kind of funny because it's not really traditional
Mhm.
Christmas,
Oh, no.
but
Is it boiled peanuts?
yeah, no, it's not full peanuts.
Okay.
But it is
Would
my
be
mama
it would
was
be
sort of
okay if it were. It would be
yeah.
okay.
My mama was sort of famous for her layered taco dip in our town,
Yeah.
and she always made it for the various Christmas parties, and we always had it on Christmas Eve, and it's my brother's absolute favorite. And so I always make it for us on Christmas Eve to eat while we stay up late and wait on Santa to get the gifts put out under the tree for the kids. And so it's kind of our tradition. And it's fun because it's like sort of you know how that is. It's middle of the night and you're waiting on Santa to finish and you're snacky and
You already had the munchies.
yeah, and you might have a glass of wine with it and just have a good old time.
So, for everybody who
So
doesn't know what a layered taco dip is, could you run through the recipe? Because 'Cause I'm
yes,
thinking I
so
might make this.
it's so super easy. Frito-Lay bean dip on the bottom and then layer it with guacamole. You can make your own, but lately I've taken to buying the already pre-made guacamole. And then the next layer is a mixture of sour cream, mayonnaise, and taco seasoning dip mix. And then top it with, scallions, green onions, chopped tomatoes, sliced black olives if you like them, pickled jalapeno if you like that, and then cheese on top. And then you dip corn chips. It's
Now,
Fritos
would she
or
put it in a pie plate or a Pyrex
she
dish or
and
what?
I do the same thing. She had a Christmas tree shaped glass dish or has I have it now. So I always make it in that at Christmas time.
And it has side it's
Yeah, it has a you want 'em to you want it to have a rim so that
right.
you have room to layer, and you don't have to make it a thick layer, because sometimes that's better because you can get, scoop
I know you're so busy, but you should do a class on teaching everybody how to make your mom's 7-layer dip. Does she call it a 7-layer dip or
we just
taco
call it
dip?
taco dip. I
Okay.
mean, but
Yeah.
yeah, she's sort of famous for it, and now my brother, it's his favorite, and I make it every Christmas Eve, and I make it for, like, birthdays and get-togethers, and my sister-in-law texted me not too long ago, she was like, "Hey, send me the taco dip recipe. Blake's Blake really wants the taco dip."
And do you
And
do Frito scoops?
I get the Fritos, the regular, like, big scoops, and I also get the Tostitos scoops because some people prefer the
Oh,
thinner dip.
I love I'm a Fritos gal,
Yeah,
like,
me too.
hands down, and the scoops are not but a Tostito scoop
We have both and so that we can
you know
have
what
it
you
all.
could do is you could make a tiny version of the taco dip in a scoop.
Oh, you
I
could.
mean, it would be like Barbie-sized
Yeah,
portions of bean dip and,
single serve.
yeah, but, man, that would be kind of a fun little presentation.
It would be.
Oh,
Yeah, so
we're
that's
so
not our
hungry.
traditional one, but it definitely has an emotional anchor because we ate it growing up a lot, and she was well known for it, and now it's sort of like our grown-up snack on Christmas Eve.
So that's
Um,
a vintage recipe with a lot of memories that you're using now
yes.
still. I love
Yes.
that. Okay, well,
Mhm.
mine is 2 things. Fudge people would always bring it to because my parents, their tradition was a Christmas Eve bash.
Mhm.
It wasn't just for family, anybody could stop by. And my mother would have a friend who played the piano come and play the piano, and we'd have punch, and she would just make all of this food and also supplement it with, like, bakery things um, like cookies and, stuff like that. But somebody would always bring a metal tin of fudge. God, there's nothing better than an old lady's fudge. And I'll try as I might, I cannot make fudge to save my life. If you were gonna rob me and say, "I will spare your life if you will make me a pan of fudge," I'd have to say, "Well, just end my life," because it's always grainy. I don't know what that means. If you're listening and you're a good fudge maker, tell me why it's grainy. Am I not cooking it long enough, or am I cooking it too long? I don't know.
Mhm.
So the other thing that I do know how to do well is one of my mother's dear friends, Julia.
Mhm.
Have I talked about Julia on the show before?
So
Okay, so Julia was my mother's age, but Julia was like my little friend.
Mhm.
My mother would drop me off at her house. I don't know why. Maybe my mother had errands to run or whatever. And Julia had 2 sons that were grown. So I was kind of like her little adopted daughter. And she loved to cook. I had my first Coke float at her house.
Mhm.
Um, we'd sit in the kitchen and cook. We'd sit out on the porch and snap beans and talk about life. We'd go to the park together. I'd run errands with her. I'd ride my bike up and down her sidewalk, her long driveway. But she made Spritz cookies,
Mhm.
shapes of trees
Mhm.
and wreaths, and they were so good. And every year for Christmas, she would drop off a big tin of Spritz cookies.
Mhm.
I maybe got to have one, and then my dad would just scarf them down. So finally, she realized that I was only getting one, so she made me my own tin, and I hid them in my room. And this tradition carried on for many, many years until she just got too old to make the cookies. But I have her recipe, and now I make them every year for Christmas,
Mhm.
and they're
I
just
love
so
it.
good. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So Christmas doesn't really start until we smell particular things in the kitchen, right? And, there's the recipe and the tradition around the recipe itself, but there's also the moment that you serve it and you eat it. And
Yes.
we've talked about that a little bit, but I think we probably have more stories to tell related to that. And I wanted to talk about, I've talked about it a lot before, but my Christmas breakfast casserole. I feel redundant because I talk about it all the time.
Raise it,
But
raise it.
it's one of those things, like, mama would almost always get up in the wee hours, or either she'd been up all night, and she'd preheat the oven and get the breakfast casserole going because it takes about an hour to cook, and she probably started it and the coffee when she heard us stirring, because our little tradition, because my brother's 5 years younger than me, but he would usually wake up first and come get in the bed with me, and she would probably hear that, and then we would just have to wait as long as we could until it was close enough to time to get up. But she would probably hear us stirring and go ahead and get up and get things going. So by the time that she said, "Okay, y'all can come in now," they were ready and they had the cameras and all the things. You could smell the coffee, obviously, and the breakfast casserole was starting to bubble up, and that sausage and, you
Mm,
know, so that smell is like, "Oh, it's Christmas." Like, even if I make it off times of year and not Christmas season, because sometimes I do when I have guests, I'm like feeling like I have that Christmas feeling. And so now, this is another, like, old recipe that we still use today, obviously, in my family. So I do this now at my brother's house because I typically am the earliest to get up, which may change now that the kids are older and they understand it and are having more anticipation about it. They may not be able to sleep in like they would before, and they didn't sleep too far in, but I'll get up and I start the coffee and preheat the oven and get the casserole going. So that's what they smell when they get up in the morning. And so my bedroom is by the kitchen at their house, and by the living room. And my job's always to video them coming in and seeing what Santa brought. And so it's so fun now. Like, that is the feeling that I had growing up on Christmas. And now we have that feeling for the kids. And that's what they smell when they wake up, and they smell the coffee. And we learned last year, my niece, she's about to be 6, but we learned last year that she needs to eat early in the process of unwrapping gifts instead of midway, partway through so that she can stay in a good mood. Um,
Okay, she gets hangry.
she gets hangry, like, make so this year we're gonna make sure we pause and maybe do, the Santa gifts and stockings and then breakfast and then family gifts
Yes.
because it gets to be a little long and drawn out if we don't eat first. So
Right, I get that, I get that. Phoebe's kinda the same way.
mhm. But yeah, that's like that moment you serve it, the tradition of smelling it like it now that even now as an adult when I smell it, I'm like, It's Christmas. So,
I love
um
that.
it's that emotional anchor, but it's also about, like, the sharing of it with
Yeah,
people.
the next
So
generation.
mhm, mhm. So,
Is that recipe written down in your mom's handwriting?
I don't think it is. She kind of combined a couple of recipes from one of our local cookbooks. I have it in an email because she sent it to me when I lived in India that she wrote to me, which is random, but, we didn't have sausage in India, so I had to use mutton to make and season it to make sausage. But
And how was that?
you didn't know the difference.
Okay, alright. Wait, is it written in your handwriting?
Yes, in
Okay,
my kitchen diary book.
okay, so
Mm,
they need to have a copy of that.
okay, got it.
Yeah. For me, well, we love the breakfast casserole too, and this year it's especially meaningful because the breakfast casserole we've been making for the last well, Phoebe's 26. Wait, no, she's 25. She'll be 26 in February. I wanna say we've been making it for maybe almost 20 years, but it came from one of my really, really close friends, Christy Burdette, who
Mhm.
died September
Right.
from colon cancer. And I love it's on a hot pink piece of paper it's one of those desk pads,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it has her name at the top. And I'm so excited to make it this year, in her memory. So Phoebe, when I was in Santa Fe, my sister said, did I share this with on a previous episode about the kids are all going to Santa Fe that I had to
You
break
did
the news?
mention that.
That
Mhm.
I had to break the news to Phoebe?
Yeah.
And I was worried how she was gonna react because she doesn't like to deviate beyond tradition very
Mhm.
well. And she was like I told her, is Christmas Eve was gonna be a lot different this year, it was just gonna be us. It's not gonna be our big Christmas Eve party. And she was like, "That's okay. As long as we do not deviate beyond our traditional Christmas morning breakfast, I will be fine with whatever we do," which is breakfast casserole. Growing up, we had a version of Christmas casserole, the egg casserole. But really what I remember most is my mom didn't make them, but there was some bakery that she always went to get monkey bread,
Mm.
like the cinnamon sugar monkey bread and cinnamon rolls.
Mhm.
And of course, the smell of butter in your kitchen and the smell of Little Smokies.
Yeah.
Dad was obsessed with Little Smokies.
Huh.
Anybody that doesn't know what those are, they're little tiny wieners. And she would make them on Christmas Eve and put them in some kind of sauce in her copper
Mhm.
chafing dish, and then we would have them the next morning. So she'd have to buy more than enough to cover Christmas Eve and
Mhm.
the next morning with breakfast. So that's, you know, Christmas doesn't start until you smell this in the kitchen.
So another one, a recipe that's sort of newly nostalgic. All of mine are kinda not traditional this time besides the breakfast casserole.
I love that
Um,
though. I love that to get to somebody out there might
yeah.
be inspired to try something new.
Yeah, so one of my best friends I met in college, hey Eliz, I know you're listening, has a fantastic caramel snack mix recipe that I got from her, and I make it every year. It's got Crispix, pecans, cashews, and you make a caramel sauce, and you slow roast it in the oven, turning it, and then you let it cool on the parchment paper. And so sometimes I put it in mason jars and give as gifts, but I always make some like the 23rd or 24th to have over the next few days. And that's another one of our Christmas Eve little snacky things, something sweet to go with our taco dip. But it is so good. I think it was her mother's recipe. I'm not sure, but Eliz chime in. Her name's Elizabeth, but we call her Eliz.
Can you share that recipe in the show notes?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
It's really easy and very good. I usually buy one of those disposable big roasting pans to do it in and line it in full and spray it. And that way I don't have to worry about because the caramel will. sort of get everywhere if you're not careful. But, yeah, it's just Crispix, cashews, pecans,
And then you make a
caramel.
sauce on the stove that's like
Yeah,
butter and
brown
brown
sugar,
sugar,
butter.
and then you just pour it over it. See,
Yep.
I would love that, but I would probably substitute the cashews for almonds
Okay.
because 'cause I'm not a big cashews person.
Mhm.
I'm not a big pecan person in stuff like that, but I think that it could lend itself
Yeah, it's really
very
good.
nicely, and
And
I
I've used the salted nuts, so you get a little bit of that
ugh,
salty sweet.
it
So,
sounds like it would be so hard to not eat the whole pan,
it is. Like, I have a hard time I'm eating it as it cools
and it's
sometimes.
so warm and gooey and
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
oh
But it makes a great little gift for like, I've done that for my coworkers. I get the smaller mason jars,
yeah,
convenience ones, and then I put snack mix in it and tie a cute little bow on it and give it to my coworkers.
love
So
that, love that. Okay, I'm looking forward to making that recipe.
mhm. That's
Okay,
my
so
last
we're gonna move on now to your favorite segment,
porch
Porch
talk.
Talk, a series of quick questions so you can get to know us and we can get to know each other better. Okay,
Yes.
you
Okay.
ready?
Ready.
Angel or star on the top of the tree?
Which tree? LOL. Um,
Okay, that was kind of a trick question.
yeah, so I have my paternal grandmother's vintage glass tree topper. It's not Shiny Bright brand. I'm gonna try to pan over on YouTube if you're
Yeah,
watching. So,
yeah, so pretty.
that's on the Shiny Bright vintage ornament tree because that's not all Shiny Bright ornaments, but majority are. But on my memories tree, I have a red paper star that I got in India because in India, believers in Jesus, they hang those stars around Christmas time as indication that they follow Jesus and that they celebrate the Christmas season. So some may hang them even if they aren't believers. But as India has become more westernized, more people celebrate Christmas even if they aren't followers of Jesus. But so those
Okay,
are my main two toppers.
okay. Favorite Christmas song?
So my favorite fun one is It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, the Bing Crosby version. My favorite line is the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. Because, I love to decorate for Christmas. And I
Sure.
remember the first year that I bought my first house, I moved in November and I sent out Christmas cards with my new address and I put that line from the song on it. Because it was my first own house, it was really special. But my favorite faith related Christmas song is O Come Emmanuel. I just love it.
And who sings that you is your favorite?
Any version,
I love Amy
honestly.
Grant's version.
Hers is really good, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
mhm.
Do you open gifts Christmas Eve or Christmas morning?
Well, nowadays, sometimes Anna and I, depending on when my brother's family is traveling home, they always are home for Christmas Eve, but sometimes it's late and I don't go to their house until I like to get there before they get there. So if I have time, Anna and I will do our besties Christmas on Christmas Eve. And then at my brother's house, the kids open one gift and it's their pajamas. So just like
Eggnog.
we did growing up. So
Eggnog, love it or hate it.
I'm not a huge fan. Give me coffee cider or cocoa over that any day. So
Okay. Is there a reason you don't like it?
I don't know.
Okay, so it sounds like it wasn't something that your mom always had
We
out.
weren't, it wasn't traditional for us. Yeah,
Okay. Is it because she didn't really like it or
probably.
okay. Do you listen to Christmas music before Thanksgiving?
Yes, before when I'm decorating, particularly, and in the car from time to time before Christmas. But then before Thanksgiving, but as soon as Thanksgiving hits, that's pretty much all I play in the car is Christmas
Yeah,
music.
I just
So
love it. Love Christmas
yes,
music. Okay.
it's fun. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, angel or star on top of the tree?
That's a really good question because I don't think I have designated tree toppers.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's because growing up we didn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
We
know.
didn't really have them
I
designated.
have a vintage, could be antique, don't know where it came from. I know you've seen them before in vintage shops. It's an angel that's kind of made out of like her face looks like it might like shiny thread
Mhm.
and her little crown is a tinsel, is it like a pipe cleaner that's tinsel?
Yeah,
Her dress is
cute.
tulle, and she's a music box. You turn her and she plays music. I vaguely remember that at one point we might have had one of those where her skirt was hollow and she got hung on the tree, And so it may just be because it wasn't a thing that we did in our house. Like, it wasn't like, "Okay, everybody gather around, we're gonna
Yeah, we
finish
didn't
the
do that either.
tree," you know?
Yeah,
So, I'm not opposed to it. I just it's not something I don't think.
yeah,
I think it's because sometimes the top of the tree is not real distinctive. Like,
right.
if it's kinda got, like, 3 or 4 branches and there's not really a center, it's
Mhm.
kinda hard to decide where to put her, and then she's
Yeah,
leaning, so
yeah. And for years, I do like the picks and stems and maybe a ribbon or a
yeah,
bow
or a
or something.
bow. Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite Christmas song?
Well, my favorite vintage song would be Andy Williams. What's that one? "The Most Wonderful Time of the Year."
It's the most
Most
wonderful.
wonder I mean, that to
Love
me
that.
is just so quintessential Christmas.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I think, for modern times, one of my favorites is kind of a love song, and it's Casey Musgraves.
Mm.
Let me see if I can find it on my playlist. Something about sparkly. It reminds me of Mr. Twist.
Aw.
Glittery, glittery. I think it's called Glittery. Glittery. It talks about glittery. You shake me up and turn me upside down, just like a snow globe, and every time you touch me, I shiver right down to my toes. You got this strange effect on me. You know how to make me feel. Glittery, you light me up like starlight on a Christmas tree. Every single kiss is like a gift to me, and I love the way you decorate my heart.
Aw, that's
Sweet,
precious.
sweet. So
That's so
it's
cute.
called Glittery, and came out in 2019. So
Okay.
that's my favorite modern Christmas story, Christmas song. Okay,
Okay. Alright, do you open gifts on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning?
Christmas morning. When I
Mhm.
was growing up, we did what you did, which was you're
Mhm.
allowed to open one gift, and it was always Christmas pajamas, which was fun. But now, and I think when Phoebe was little, we did that too. But now that she's grown up, we pretty much just wait until Christmas Day.
Yeah. Okay. Eggnog? Love it or hate it?
I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
Okay.
Twist likes it, but, it's got a lot of sugar in it, so we try to
Mhm.
be really careful with that because of his diabetes.
Yeah. Don't wanna take a risk.
I like it. When we were growing up, my brother, who's no longer with us, would make it from scratch,
Mm.
and he would put bourbon in it. So that was boozy eggnog. But, they come out you could buy it in the grocery store, and with a little sprig of nutmeg on the top. I will say I will have at least 1 cup during the holidays.
Okay.
Kind of a nice little thing to have.
Yeah. I guess maybe I don't buy it
And
special,
it's not,
so
it's
yeah.
not your go-to. It's not like, "Ooh, I'm gonna have a big glass of eggnog." It's
Eggnog.
really more just like in a little punch cup, sprinkle a little eggnog,
Okay.
maybe add a little splash of bourbon, if you wanted to. So,
Makes me think of Christmas Vacation. Okay.
yeah,
Do you listen to Christmas music? I know the answer to this. Before Thanksgiving?
November 1st,
No.
every year.
Mhm.
And, it used to drive my coworkers bananas. 'Cause this back in the day, I worked at my job for 25 years, so in the very beginning, they really didn't have streaming radio.
Mhm.
I had a clock radio
Yeah.
in my office, or I'd bring in my boom box, and I'd listen to, CDs, Christmas CDs, and they'd be
Yeah.
like, "Can we shut your door? Because honestly, it's just way too early." And I'm like, "Sure, go ahead. I don't mind being shut up in my office all day listening to Christmas tunes." And then nothing makes me happier when a radio station decides to turn the switch.
Mhm.
Star 102.1 started with Christmas music last weekend,
Mhm.
or the week before Thanksgiving, I think. Maybe 10 days before Thanksgiving. And so I ran errands all day yesterday. I had like 10 places I had to go. Lots of returns. I had to go get
Mhm.
things for the gingerbread house and
Text
go
me
to the
this yesterday.
cleaners and get my car inspected and all that. And nothing makes me happier than to go through the line at Starbucks, get a coffee. I get a hot Americano with steamed cream and 1 stevia. I got a slice of banana bread, cranked up the Christmas tunes, and ran 3 hours worth of errands.
I gotta do that this afternoon. So,
Turn on those Christmas tunes, it makes
on
it a
the
whole lot
tunes.
better. Yeah.
Mhm. It will. Alright.
Okay, it's time to close the show. And Brittany, it's time you get to do the toast to sentiment this week.
I do. So the toast to sentiment is how we close the show with the sentimental quote, story, poem, thought, etc. To just raise a glass to sentimentality because we are the sentimental twist after all. And so we talked a lot today about the scents and the sounds and little pockets of memory tucked all around our homes and in our hearts at Christmas time. And I just keep thinking that this season turns us all into story keepers, which is what I call people that love to tell their history of their lives, their story of their lives through their home. So, every recipe passed down from generations or just from friends like Elizabeth, every record we play, every vintage ornament we hang, they're little acts of remembering. Everything we do around this time of year can help us remember something. And I just love that. And those things are how we carry those people in our lives and those moments that we had into the present and the future with future generations, which is a lot about what we talk about here. And so I think when you think about the magic of Christmas, it's just magical as a kid. It was in those little things that the people that loved you did for you. They created the magic of Christmas. And so my mom created she was the magic of Christmas. My dad created magical Christmas moments for us. And so my encouragement and my toast today is for us to create the magic for those that are with us now and that will come after us. And so I want to toast to the cinnamon rolls, to the Bing Crosby records, the vintage ornaments that have seen more Christmases than we have, and the casseroles that wake us up on Christmas morning before the sun.
And that Christmas coffee.
Oh, and my Christmas coffee. I'm drinking it now.
I'm gonna have to get a real coffee pot.
Yes.
That was a beautiful toast, Brittany.
So here's to that and to the joy of keeping those stories alive and keeping them going, because I think that's the important part of being a story keeper. So.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay, so that's all for today's episode of the Sentimental Twist. Please follow us on Instagram, on the Sentimental Twist podcast on Instagram. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple. Give us a follow. Give us a thumbs up. Comment. We love it when people comment. Encourage people to follow the podcast and share with a friend who loves meaningful spaces. I'm at Home with a Twist on Instagram, homewithatwist.com, and Home with a Twist on YouTube.
And I'm at Brittany Shepherd on Instagram, sentimentaldecorator.com, and Brittany Shepherd TSD on YouTube. Please send us your stories. We want to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. So thanks for joining us today on the Sentimental Twist,
where we believe every space tells a story.
And every story deserves a place at the table. Until next time.
Keep things cozy, collected, and a little bit sentimental.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all. See you next week for the finale of season 2.
It's going to be fun.
Bye.